another blitz. Hurts takes it right up the gut. Touchdown Eagles. Here's the deep ball. Got hit as he let it go. Oh, Devontae Smith. What a catch. From 54 for the win. On the way. It is there. And the Eagles remain unbeaten.
Hello again. Welcome back to the Flyin Style Podcast. I am your host, Matthew Mitchell, back with my co-host, Stephen Masley.
What's up, Matt? How are you feeling today on this fine conference championship Thursday?
I mean, not so great since the Eagles aren't there. Obviously, we witnessed a pretty brutal downfall to our favorite team and historically bad end to our season against the Bucs in the wild card round. It was a rough loss. Nothing was going our way offensively, defensively. Same struggles we were dealing with for the latter half of the season, and it was a really weird year. Everybody can agree this was one of the strangest things anyone's ever seen in sports. A collapse like nothing that's ever happened in any sports. Whether it's basketball, baseball, soccer, football. Never seen a team start so good and finish so bad. I don't think ever. So it was definitely, it was an interesting year. So do you have obviously we're not going to talk much about the game because there's not much to take away. It was a rough one and we are where we are. So heading into the offseason, do you have any, final thoughts for the season? Any last bits you want to leave behind?
So just the last thing I want to leave behind is just we didn't change anything going into this game. We knew this was going to be Sirianni's. Sirianni knew this was not his last thing he could have done. It's Brian Johnson's last point he could have made on the team, and we didn't change really anything that was giving us mistakes and troubles throughout the last 6 games of the year. It was just frustrating of why they didn't even try anything new. With obviously AJ Brown was out, but at the same time, they're still running these stupid screen passes. They're not doing anything across the middle. They're running these. What are they running on 3rd and 2s? I don't know. They did it twice. It was disgusting. They're running long corners on 3rd and 2. I couldn't understand the play calling at all. I don't know why they just kept going with what didn't work. Because if it's broken, it's broken. By the way, it's like the saying "ain't broke, don't fix it." It's complete opposite. If it's broken, why do you
gotta fix it? They ain't gonna get better.
No, the car's not starting. The car's not starting. Oh, the car's not starting. Let me try. It's okay. You're not. You gotta go get your car fixed, bro. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. It's broken. Now this was
you got
just
that right.
It was just sad, and it was our demise that we just couldn't do anything right. Other than Schmitty just making some great plays, but other than that, that's the only takeaway that I had from this game. That was good. On defense, we looked like we didn't want to tackle. That was maybe the most embarrassing tackling game I watched from the Eagles this season. And you can't even wake up for the playoffs. None of it made sense. None of this latter half of the season made sense. Now here we are. And this is the off season, and we're trying to fix it now, and we're going to get into that. So past the past.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to agree with all that. I mean, obviously, there's things to look forward to going into next year. Obviously, we still have most of the same team. We did get news that, Brandon Graham said he plans to come back and play for one more year. Obviously the deal still has to get done. But hopefully we'll have him back for one more year. We don't know anything about Fletcher Cox, and obviously we've heard about the unfortunate and expected retirement of Jason Kelce, an all-time great center, maybe the all-time best center in NFL history. He's obviously going to be dearly missed, but Juergens is probably going to slide over into his replacement spot, and then we're going to be left with an open guard position, and we'll have to fill that, of course. But losing Kelce is going to hurt, man. I mean, not just in the play style, but the leadership in the locker room. Obviously, we've heard a little bit this year of, it's probably media just trying to dig into Philadelphia and, dig under everybody's nails. But obviously, we've heard a bit of a different side of the coin with Jalen Hurts' leadership abilities this year. Obviously, last year we didn't face a whole lot of adversity. We, kind of just trounced over everybody. Everything was going our way. And then this year we saw the same thing happening for one half of the season, and the back half of the season we didn't see so much of that, shining leadership come through like we did last year. And a lot of players even came out saying that they felt intimidated by his presence, felt unapproachable, felt unable to talk to him. And that's not something you like to hear. Granted, I think that to an extent, hearing that, it feels a little soft from the players because obviously everybody's pissed off, but it's just another man. If you want to go talk to the man, go talk to the man. And not to mention, that he's got a little bit of a brooding personality. Don't take it so personal. Maybe I'm taking it the wrong way, and I don't know what kind of interactions they have in the locker room and whatnot. But I know Jalen Hurts wants to get better, and I doubt that he'd turn anybody down in the attempt to do so. Maybe that's me being a little over optimistic about his mentality, but I do hope to see some improvements out of him, both on the field and off the field next year in terms of, just how he handles either, wins or defeats and, how he keeps the locker room together. I didn't see a lot of the vocalization from him that I was hoping to see. And hopefully that improves going into next year. But, we still had 2,000-yard receivers, 1,000-yard rusher, a quarterback who obviously, had a rough patch in the end of the season, but was in the MVP conversation for most of the year. So, newsflash, Jalen Hurts is still our guy. Do not give up on him. He is not bad. The offense was the problem. And I do sincerely think that with the right coach in place and a new offense in order, that we can see Jalen Hurts and this offense thrive again. And the defense as well. We obviously have a lot more holes to fill on the defensive side of the ball, but I do think that the coaching this year was the problem, the problem. I will stand on that. I stood on it all season. Go back and rewatch every single episode, and I would have at least once mentioned Brian Johnson and how he should be fired or how he's doing terrible. So, I personally had more of a problem with the offensive side of the ball than the defensive side of the ball, which is a little crazy considering our offense wasn't, statistically terrible, but our defense was statistically terrible. And, it was the worst in the league. It was genuinely the worst in the league. But something about watching that offense and the way it was run was just so much more noticeably problematic and ignorant. Just ignorant, I feel like, is the best word to describe it. Just not being willing to adjust, not being willing to change anything, being so stubborn and prideful that you have to just keep doing the same thing, even though you're running the team into the ground. I mean, it was hard to watch all year, and I'm glad I don't have to watch it anymore. And leading into that, let's go into the coaching situation. Obviously, at the end of the season, firings were in order, and they happened. Thank goodness. Brian Johnson, see ya. I'm not going to miss you. Glad you got out of here. I don't hope you get another coaching job. You don't deserve it. Just kidding. I wish him the best. I hope that he gets something. He's obviously gotten a few head coaching interviews, and I think it's a little crazy, but if somebody wants to take and be my guest, I do wish him the best going forward. And then obviously we also let go of both of our defensive coordinators in Sean Desai and Matt Patricia, your favorite coach.
Pencil boy. Bye-bye.
And,
I hope he doesn't get another coaching job. He's fine. He's old enough now.
He's had his fair share of runarounds. He doesn't need any more chances. And finally it was decided that Nick Sirianni is going to be staying. So before we get into the new defensive coordinator, let's just hear your thoughts on the firings and the decision to stay with Nick Sirianni.
So this kind of reminded me. Do you remember the offseason with Doug when he got fired?
Absolutely. This is 2.0.
Yeah, and it was kind of like the complete opposite. I'm like they kind of went into a room. Howie and Jeffrey Lurie, it's coming out more. We haven't really been talking about him because we've been winning. about how they run everything in the Eagles. But when they bring him to a room, I assume they basically, because based on what happened with Doug, that he kind of disagreed with the path that they were going, and they want to go a certain path, and they don't agree with that path, then he's out of there, which makes sense in a way. But he's like fully on their path. Um, I do believe that all the coordinators needed to be fired. I don't know if Sirianni 100% agreed. I guess he had to have 100% agreed. But these are his guys he hired. He's the one who hired all of them. It's kind of not surprising that Sirianni didn't get fired because he has, if you look at his overall record, you look at his resume on his team, overall, you're just like, how could you fire a guy like that, right? But this collapse he has to take something from it.
He has to take almost full responsibility.
Yeah.
Almost. I mean, at some point he had to be the guy to make a change. Nobody else is going to do it. You are the lead dude, and you got to be the one to make a change, and he didn't do it. So I mean the responsibility has to fall on him.
And then the only change he made is making Matt Patricia the coach, and our defense got even worse. And it was kind of, I mean, in the presser, you don't really get anything from these press conferences. They're all, but one of the questions that is kind of circling around was, he basically, in a roundabout way, asked, like, Nick, what do you do for the team? And Nick responded, well, I'm the head coach, obviously. And I'm all well good with that. That's just like, what do you want him to say? Obviously, he's not calling the plays, but he has to, in some way, have stepped into this position of not, I don't want him taking over play calling, but just, I don't know why nothing changed. And why do I expect anything this year to change from a coach if obviously the coordinators are going to change, and I'm hoping that they take full reign of that. But if Sirianni still is the head coach and doing his philosophy of everything, why do I expect anything to change if he's still the head coach of our team? I didn't necessarily want him to be fired because I didn't know who he would hire. Just based off the Eagles' resume, they usually don't hire former head coaches. They usually hire newer guys. And so a lot of the guys that I personally wanted, like Vrabel, or Belichick, and these are all like just throwing out their names, are just off the table. So who are we going to go with, right? And I think this is the best case scenario at the moment for the Eagles. Sirianni has a lot to prove. I think he has to honestly just improve at his way of like speaking to being more of a fan on, like, kind of on the sidelines. I know that's the personality, and that's 100% fine, but he, at times, it came off as arrogant in a way, especially when you see us losing after, like, the Chiefs like scream at the fans. You got to be more poised than that. Even though I know that's what you want to say, go in the locker room and say that. Obviously this is all 2020, just kind of being irritated toward the Eagles, and obviously winning cures all. So I think that's what he's gonna have to do. This next season is nothing short of just winning. And if we have a losing season, I will bet all my money that he's fired. 1,000,000%.
Oh, absolutely. This is a make it or break it deal. I mean, if we have another dud of a season, he's absolutely gone. I mean, I think me, along with most other fans, really thought that Buccaneers game he was coaching for his job, and to an extent he was. But this is a replica situation of the 2020 season with the Doug Peterson meeting, sitting him down after the season, and Howie and Jeffrey saying, we are going to take the reins and you're going to sit back and watch.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's not what I like to hear. It doesn't make me feel better. It doesn't make me think that anything's going to get fixed. It actually makes me think that we're probably going to dive deeper into a worse hole. But either way, Nick Sirianni agreed to it. And the biggest takeaway from yesterday's press conference is that Nick Sirianni is not in control of anything anymore.
Yeah.
He is a figurehead at this point.
And it's kind of disgusting to watch because he doesn't have, like, what is he going to do then? He's like focused on, he's looking behind his shoulder the entire time. So it's not like he's going to, like, I just don't like that dynamic. No one likes it when they're in a workplace, like, bring it to any job you have. No one likes the boss right over their shoulder as they're doing their work. Like, yeah, like the boss has to walk around and talk to you and everything. But when you're doing your work, you don't want him right over your shoulder. So now that's going to be lingering over his head every single time he makes any decision. I'm hoping it's not as forcefully as we both see it as like a puppet master, basically. I hope he can make some free will decisions without having to check in with Howie and Jeffrey of what he's supposed to do. But
well, to be honest with you, dude, I mean, I didn't see him make a single free will decision this year. I mean, whether he was allowed to or not, he didn't do it. He didn't make any. I didn't see him make a single decision this year. It looked like he just stood on the sideline and either, made fun of fans or just brooded over a loss. I didn't see him say anything worthwhile. I didn't see him make an adjustment. I didn't see him, talk emphatically to the players. I didn't see him, show emotion to the team when they were losing. I didn't see him do any of that stuff. And, I was 50-50 on him staying or being fired. I really was unsure because, like we said, he had the good track record. Obviously, he took us to a Super Bowl last year. But we're back in that situation where it feels like how much of that was him? How much of that did he have to do with? Or was it Shane Steichen that got us to the Super Bowl and Jonathan Gannon? And, I don't know. He's very much, and he knows this, but he's very much got to earn the faith back of the fans. And it's going to depend on who he signs as his coordinators. And obviously, we've already gotten our D coordinator, who I'm personally not a big fan of, but we're gonna get to see. We did sign Vic Fangio from the Dolphins, who the year before was defensive assistant for the Eagles under Jonathan Gannon. And he was poised to take the job had Jonathan Gannon not taken his time to make his decision on his head coaching job. And in the meantime, he was taken by the Miami Dolphins. But here we are now. We've grabbed him back. This was the plan from the start, from the beginning of last year. I don't know a whole lot about him, but what I do know is that the Dolphins were one of the worst defenses in the league this year. And it doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence. So if you know anything more about him, give me some word.
I mean, the Dolphins had a lot of injuries throughout the entire season. Basically, their entire secondary is missing the first half of the season, even though they're playing pretty well. Their linebacking core was literally they were calling like college football guys like you basically off the couch and come and play. They were decimated with injuries into the playoffs. I don't know as much about him as like I should, but I do know his family is like from Philly. He's a beloved.
I know
Philly
he's a big Philly guy, and I heard that he knows the score to every Phillies game.
Yeah, that's what John Greenberg wrote a couple of years ago. He said he learned two things from Vic Fangio. He said he never drinks coffee and always knows the Phillies score. So I mean that's nice as a Phillies fan. I don't know exactly his entire scheme of how he does everything. I know he has had some success in his league as the Broncos. He's the Broncos D coordinator, right?
I'm actually not sure. I really haven't done any digging into the guy. I haven't thought about it too much yet.
That's what I should have done. I was doing more digging into the OCs that we're going to hire.
Yeah, I was too a little bit because that's obviously, like I've mentioned just this podcast, it was what I was really more concerned about. I knew there were only a few defensive coordinators that I was really interested in getting, and that was, I'm not upset at Vic Fangio. I think that's a name that I would have been okay with from the start. I said that I had my concerns with him just because of a shaky Dolphin season, but like you said, injuries. And the only other shaky part is just the fact that Howie clearly really wants this guy, and sometimes that concerns me a little bit. But just when it comes to coaches, I feel like he doesn't have the best track record. Oh, actually, I shouldn't say that. I really shouldn't say that because his track record with coaches is Andy Reid, obviously Chip Kelly, crap the bed, Doug Peterson, and Nick Sirianni. And for the most part, that's a pretty good track record. But I don't know. I've never been a fan of our coordinator signings, particularly. So we will see. We will see.
When did the Niners? He was the Niners DC. When did the Niners go to Super Bowl? Because he was there during Harbaugh's era.
The Niners Super Bowl, was that not Saleh? Robert Saleh or Saleh?
Was it not? I don't know why I thought it was. He was there. I thought it was 2011.
You're talking all the way. Oh, you're talking back then.
Yeah. No, I'm talking. He's an older dude.
I thought you were talking about the championship last year.
No, I think he was the DC for them. But nonetheless, he's been in this league for forever.
That's the one thing I'm gonna love about him is that I do want this defense to toughen up And the best way to toughen up is to go back to old school football. And Vic Fangio is definitely an older football mind. He's been around the league for a long time. He's seen the old strong tactics, and he's got a tough mind on him. So that's one thing that I hope he brings a culture in here with, and really sets a tone with. But we're just gonna have to see on that.
I hope he's Jim Johnson 2.0.
That would be nice. It would be lovely to get like James Johnson,
dude.
I don't know if that's as accessible as you would hope.
Dude, some people kind of love it. It's kind of love the signing, aka our friend Mike, which is texted me emphatically about how happy he was. But I don't know what I don't think it could be any worse than Matt Patricia, so I'm happy.
That's kind of how I feel, honestly. Like the defense, to me, the defensive coordinator was always just going to be an upgrade. Like the offensive coordinator is the one that I want to be. Like I need it to be like an offense that'll work. And I'm a little concerned with the guys that we've interviewed so far. I haven't really liked any of them. I know you're not going to be a fan, but to me, I don't even like to say it, but the best one that we've done so far is Cliff Kingsbury, and that's not saying much. I'm not a fan of Cliff Kingsbury, but I think he's probably maybe the best one that we've talked to so far, which is not a good sign. But we have talked to Cliff Kingsbury. We have talked to the Houston quarterback coach, who I do not know by name at the moment.
Jerry Johnson.
What is it?
Jerry Johnson.
Jerry Johnson.
Jared.
Yeah. Jared Johnson. We've talked to Kellen Moore, who was the Cowboys' old offensive coordinator and currently the Chargers. Is he the head coach or the offensive coordinator over there?
He was the OC, but did he? Yeah. When did Stanley get fired?
I do not know, to be honest.
But he might have killed it. But either way,
I don't know. But
he
either
was
way,
the OC. He was the OC the entire year.
He's another one, and I think I'm leaving somebody out, aren't I? Wasn't there a fourth interview?
I don't know if did we talk to Jim Bob Cruder or
I don't think so.
Frank Wright, or did they just kind of in? I think that's all we might have talked to that came out that I can remember seeing headlines off. But a couple other names that were in there were Jim Bob Cooter, Frank Wright, and then obviously I think we are both on a good terms about Eric Bieniemy, but I don't know what his situation will be in Washington. I don't know what I thought that he was going to be the head coach there. I would love that. He's my number one by far. If I had to,
absolutely, I'd have to agree.
But all right, let's go on your thing about why Kingsbury is your favorite.
For one reason only, and not a lot of people might not agree with me on this, but from what I know, Cliff Kingsbury tends to run like a little bit of a college style West Coast offense, which I feel like would be a good fit for Jalen Hurts. The college aspect in terms of it has its little bits of read option and quarterback runs and option play, but I think the West Coast offense style would really suit Jalen Hurts very well because based off of what I saw on him this year, especially, he handles the middle of the field very well. He handles the outside of the field very numbers to sidelines very well, but only from 20 to 10 yards. Or 20 to 5, I don't think that him spreading the field a lot was beneficial to him. I saw a lot of our route concepts this year felt incredibly long and spread out. And, it felt like it took forever for our receivers to get open. And we need to see more quick passes, quick outs, quick ins, slants, digs, curls. I feel like Jalen Hurts thrives being able to get the ball out of his hands quick. And, we know for a fact that when he holds onto the ball too long, he's very quick to bail out of the pocket, and he puts himself in a bad situation to throw the ball downfield. And I mean, I don't completely blame that on him because our O-line was, a little bit of a, flappy curtain this year. And not to mention our receivers really weren't a lot of the time I saw replays on our routes this year. Nobody was ever open. It felt like nobody was ever open in the replays. So I don't put it all on Hurts, but alas, I do think that Jalen Hurts thrives to his best when he can get the ball out of his hands quick, and I feel like a West Coast style would be a good fit for him.
So I kind of came around as much as I was saying I hate Kingsbury. Looking at more of the options, that you get a guy like Frank Wright, who obviously Nick was OC under at Indianapolis. Like I don't really love Jared Johnson because I feel like it's kind of another just Brian Johnson, which is
Mhm.
it. I mean, as a QB coach, he coached a great young quarterback up.
I don't want to see any other coach other than an studied offensive coordinator coming in for this job. I want
And
somebody that knows how to run an offense. I don't want another project. Okay, that's like to me, that's
yeah,
fine.
um, you know, Kellen Moore is. I mean, I don't. Would he come here? Like, I guess.
I'm sure you
Um,
would. I mean, the opportunity is the opportunity, but I do want to just point out that I don't know how direct it is with coaches. I don't know. I haven't followed how many Cowboys coaches have ever come to the Eagles, but I do know for a fact that Cowboys players that come to the Eagles never pan out ever.
I
So
mean, I don't love him, but
he had some creativity to his offense when we were playing the Cowboys. I've seen they've had a lot of good times on their offense, but they've also had a lot of good players. So it's hard to say how much that's attributed to him. But when you get to see a comparison with a team as talented as ours was this year, dealing with Brian Johnson, you can see how much of a difference the coaching makes. So, he had a good offense when he was working for the Cowboys. I didn't see anything with what he did this year. I guess, like we said, he was with the Chargers. They were a bit of a dud this year. So I can't say that, I am feeling thrilled about it by any means. An ex-Cowboys coach that had a bad season this past year is not exactly on my, resume of, good coaches.
I agree there. Um, the thing I was going to say about Kingsbury was obviously on paper, like if you took away the name Cliff Kingsbury and like I know his past with the Cardinals and just didn't sour taste on my mouth. I mean, he has a similar scheme to Lincoln Riley. He was the OC at USC where Lincoln Riley was the head coach, which is related to Jalen because Lincoln Riley ran Oklahoma when Jalen won the Heisman. On paper, he
Didn't win it, just want to
or I
clarify.
mean runner up. I mean
Run it up.
that's what I yeah. On paper, he's had a top 10 offense with the Cardinals. Obviously, that team was kind of poopy bun buns, and he got signed for way too much money. And they're airing the ball out a lot. But he's as an OC, I just he's the only option. Like I mean, I love Eric Bieniemy. I want him more than anyone else. Um,
Agreed.
because if we're gonna run the ball, by the way, are we getting Swift back? That's another conversation. But I
That's
love Eric
probably going to
Bieniemy.
depend. The running back, as you know how Howie deals, he does not like to put a lot of money into running back. So it's really going to depend on whether Swift is willing to take a hometown cut, if he feels like he earned a bigger contract, if we're just going to go and grab, or stick with Kenny. They might stick with Kenny Gainwell. I really wouldn't be shocked. I don't want them to, but I wouldn't be shocked. Um, Once again, I feel like we tend to disrespect Kenny Gainwell. I really don't mean any disrespect to him. I just don't think he's that good. I really don't. I think he's just okay, um, which isn't terrible. Running back is a pretty, universal position. You just got to grab the ball and run. But I don't think that he was anything, stellar. But he gets the job done. So I wouldn't be super upset about it. But I hope we get Swift back. I
I hope
mean,
he gets Swift back as well.
you know how much I raved about him before the season,
Yeah,
and
I would love.
how underused he was this year. I hope that we get the chance to bring him back and show what kind of production he can put up if he's getting the proper usage.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a shame that's just how the running back position is. It's kind of a young position. Like obviously you can't go out and like pay a running back or else it's kind of like
Unfortunately, they're a dime a dozen. Like
sad in a way.
yeah.
Honestly, like if like Saquon's contract's gonna be up, like I would if we had money, like which
I would love to have Saquon Barkley
like
on
you know
our
what I
team.
mean? Like we could. That's like but he wants, but we would have to pay him and like.
Not unfortunately, it really has become a position that's not exactly worth investing in from
It's
a
like
business aspect.
it's kind of sad because these guys are really talented. And it's not just I mean, you see what McCaffrey does for the Niners, and obviously they kind of paid him, but they didn't even pay him as much as like Bijan's getting right now, which is just insane.
Yeah, I mean, rookies should never be making more than MVP caliber players in the league. It just shouldn't be that way.
That's just how the running back structure is probably going to be like done, because there's no other way of. It's just like you're a skilled running back from college. That's what you're going to get is good money if you're drafted in the first couple picks. But anyway, we got a little off topic. Talk about that. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's honestly, as much as I keep like wanting to look into like OCs, and I'm trying to look into like Vic Fangio and stuff. I don't know, dude. This everyone I feel like in Philly just has a sour taste in their mouth of the end of the season and this entire collapse, and it's going to be left there just because Sirianni's not fired, and I wasn't necessarily calling for it, but I don't know if this team is capable of winning because I haven't seen it, and I really thought they would bounce back. I thought they would bounce back, and it just didn't happen. And like they're not even playing good teams, and it was like disgusting to see. And it was I don't know why am I supposed to have faith in something that I saw at the beginning of the season, and it just nothing toward the end at all.
Well, that's exactly why I think it's fair for us to still have faith. I mean, the talent did not regress. They have not forgotten how to play football. They are still the same talented team. And I will stand on my grave on the fact that those coaches ruined the team this year. And I do think that a lot of, the drama of everybody getting pissed off after losing, played into that. I think that there were a lot of egos in the locker room that showed for the first time and caused some problems. I think that the way Jalen acted, the way AJ Brown acted, I think those were the two most notable ones, obviously. But those are the two biggest
stars of your team.
The two biggest stars in the team, the two biggest, leaders in the team. But you can't be acting like that. So I hope that they can, hash out their problems, hash out, their leadership views, and, work together to go back to that cool, collected team that was winning games.
Yeah, so I agree, and I also take everything with a grain of salt, because obviously there was probably some of that, but obviously in winning cures all. But you can't just. I don't know if like Jalen's they try to bring out everything on anyone, like when anything's going down, just to bring them down even farther. So
of course, but I'm going off of the words I watched come out of their mouths. I'm not going off of rumor reports or any stirrings that the media tried to pull up. I'm going off of the situations that they decided to or not to comment on, and the fact that there were things that they showed or didn't show to me in their leadership aspects this year that were a little disappointing. Jalen, in his lack of voice, and in all of those games of us losing, I feel like I didn't see a single interview of Jalen explaining what's going on or what he plans to do about it, or what he's done to try to make a change. And with AJ Brown, you heard too much of him. You just heard him talking about everything. You heard he was making big, loud, obnoxious reactions on the sidelines for all the cameras to see. These are just two things that you got to find a happy medium with both those guys. So I just hope that they find a way to get that under control.
Well, the season's still going on, and the NFC and AFC chips are here. Just before we head off, who do you think is going to win these matchups going into the Super Bowl in 2 weeks? So playing the early game is going to be AFC Championship Chiefs at the Ravens. The Chiefs are coming off a win against the Bills, and the Ravens are coming off a dominating win against the Texans. Who do you got in that game? Why? And what do you think we're going to see?
I'm going to make it quick. I'm going with my heart. I'm going with the Ravens and the Lions. The favorite matchup for America right now. Obviously, nobody wants to see the Chiefs or the 49ers in there. That has nothing to do with my decision. But I do think that both teams showed a little bit of their bad sides, in recent memory. The 49ers did not look good last week. They struggled. They barely pulled past the Green Bay Packers. I know it's a game-to-game, like a week-to-week basis. I understand that. And I wouldn't be shocked to see them come out. They are the 1 seed and maybe the most talented team in the league. But if they don't have Debo playing, which I think is a big factor, I could see them slipping up against the Lions because the Lions are relentless. They want it. They're hungry. You can see the hunger in them right now. And I just think that they're going to be the team that shows the most heart on Sunday. So I'm going to go with the Lions in that game. And on the other side, I think that's the one that gets really tough because the obvious answer is the Ravens. And I think they have been so good lately that it's hard for me to say I expect them to lose. Like, I just have to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they've been playing such good football consistently all year. That's hard to see them losing. But, I mean, the Chiefs in the playoffs are just unbelievable. They have been Patrick Mahomes' whole career, and they're back in another stupid freaking championship game. What is this? Mahomes is 7th already, I think.
It's something. I don't know.
It's either his 6th or 7th appearance, which is just absolutely ridiculous. And it's hard for me to bet against him too. This one I'm pretty 50-50 on. I'm having a harder time with this one than the other one. But I think I got to give it to the Ravens. But just I really want to emphasize how unshocked I would be if the Chiefs were to pull it out. But
I mean, Patty Mahomes is underdog is just crazy. The only reason I'm going to take Ravens and Niners just because I just better defense at home. I think the Niners have a significantly better defense if you just compare it to the Lions defense. But the Lions offense is also sparkling on fire. Yeah, man, I just have to take the better defense at home. I don't know if I would ever bet against Patty. Patty's a scary human being. He kind of just finds a way to win. Andy Reid's a great coach. I'm hoping this Ravens teams, this is everything to the Ravens. That's what they're waiting for. Obviously a lot of people, I think the funniest things are only one man can save us from the Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl type beat, and it's Lamar Jackson. It's the edits.
Yeah, unfortunately, we see them every year. It used to be Jackson Mahomes, but now we got a new one.
It's so funny. So the Lamar saving, the Lamar God saving stuff is hilarious, and keep it up because I thought this was yeah.
It's gonna be a good weekend. It really is. They're both good games.
In my heart, I want it to be Lions Ravens. I don't know if the Lions have a good enough defense, but without Debo, Brock Purdy isn't that scary. So, it's gonna be fun. I hope at least good games to watch. I hope it's not just too. Unless the Lions blow out the Niners, honestly, that would make me happy. I would love to see the Lions win, but I have to pick the Niners just because their defense is really stout, and I don't know. I would love to see your matchup though. That'd be
all right. Well, let's hear score predictions for Ravens Chiefs.
Ravens Chiefs. I'm gonna go. Ravens have scored. I'm going to go 31-24 in the Ravens-Chiefs game. I think that the first half, the Chiefs have a strong start. I think that their offense hasn't been clicking as much in the second half through the latter half of the season. I think the Ravens defense steps up in the second half, and you see them kind of shut them down, and the Ravens are able to dominate on the ground, win the game. So I think they win by a 7-point margin. And for the Lions – Niners, if Debo can play, I think it's gross.
Say it.
I'll say 35-24. Niners. I just think the Niners kind of can dominate this game. I really want the Lions. In my heart, they're a great team. They've been playing well all year on offense. I just think that I don't think the Niners are going to let more than 30 points to this team, which is just crazy to say. But I don't know. I don't see it happening. but that's just me. If the Niners can score on offense, I think they win this game, honestly.
All right. Fair enough. Well, I've already given my explanation for what I expect out of both the teams. So for the Lions game, Lions 49ers, I'm going to have the Lions winning 34-31. And I think it's going to be a down to the wire kind of thing. And they're going to get, I kind of think they're going to get a late stop on the 49ers actually, but we're going to get to see. I think the defense might be their untimely hero, or not their untimely, their unexpected hero.
I like that.
And cool. I think that the other game, I think I'm going to go 28-21 for the Ravens. I can see, once again, I think it's going to be a shootout that comes down to the end. But I think that they're going to be looking for a touchdown to tie it, and they're going to, get an unfortunate 3-and-out. Or not 3-and-out, but, you get what I mean. So
not be able to convert. All right.
Yeah. So we will see. It's going to be a fun weekend, some fun games, but we will be tuning back in either late next week or early Super Bowl week for another episode with you guys. Before the Super Bowl, we'll be talking about the Super Bowl. Hopefully our offensive coordinator will be signed by then and we can get to talk about that. If not, we'll talk about, who some other prospective coaches might be, who we've talked to since then, and what moves we want to see the Eagles start making in the offseason, and what kind of key holes we want to fix first. So thank you guys for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Please feel free, if you are watching, to like this video and to subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing either probably, we're going to take a little break after the Super Bowl. And then once the offseason starts getting kicked off, we'll be back with bi-weekly updates, giving, free agency updates, draft updates, and key preseason updates. So stay tuned. Stick with us. We always appreciate you guys. Until then, we will see you guys next week. I want to say go Birds, but I don't know.
I know. So did I. So I want to say go Birds, but I don't want to be that disrespectful. But
but I'm just kidding, guys. Go Birds. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.